Let me see you bounce. Put your back and forward now. Baby, let me get you now. Shake it up, shake it up. Let me see you bounce. Let me see your body rock. Baby, show me what you got. Take it up, take it up. Let me see you bounce. Get up the underground. DJ gon' play it loud. Brinca, brinca. Let me see you bounce. Brinca, brinca. Let me see you bounce.
Oh, hello there and welcome to Zoranland. We are a entertaining website with fan club and social network. Please visit us at www.zoran-land.com and join our fan club. This is our Zealand Entertainment.
Good afternoon. Thanks for choosing us today. I'm Zoran and you are watching our Zealand Entertainment. We are coming to you from the beautiful The Springs Clubhouse in Novi, Michigan. My guest today on my show is Mr. Arias. Mr. Arias, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, the first thing I used to say is, and I guess I still do, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm not a native of Detroit, but I've been here 15 years. My wife and I just celebrated 15 years this weekend.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I have been a minister literally all of my life. I started preaching in the pulpit when I was 5 years old. And I've done a lot of education in ministry and in religion. And I teach at seminary now at Ecumenical Theological Seminary in Detroit.
Okay, that's actually the topic of our show today. It's religion and Christianity. I did post a status on my Facebook page and my Twitter that you're coming to the show, and there is a lot of responses to it with the questions. I hope we're going to have enough time and give the answers.
I'll do my best.
Okay. For the beginning, tell me what is, just to give a little intro about the religion, what is religion and what is the history or evolution of the religion?
Where religion really is a practice. It's a way that we live, a way we believe, a way that we organize ourselves and the world around us. It helps us to look beyond ourselves and to look to community and to look at the world that we live in. And religion is a way of incorporating into our personal and community system a divine way of understanding the world.
Okay. What are the most important components or elements of the religion?
Well, that varies from religion to religion, as a matter of fact, as I understand it.
Let's keep the question about the Christianity. How about
okay.
What are the basis elements of religion?
Well, it still varies, even in Christianity.
Even in Christianity, okay.
But I would say that religion at its root is about faith. And so faith would be probably the one thing that we would experience in any kind of religion that raises us above the natural level of life and gives us an opportunity to look beyond where we come from and where we go and so forth and so on. The other thing in most religions you'll find at its root is love. And love is a way of, number one, loving ourselves and a way of respecting others as we see them and as we interact with them, and also to expect them to relate with us in the way that we relate with them. And so love is giving them that possibility of relating with us in that way.
So love and faith are the two most important
I
things
would say
in the religion.
So. In the Christian religion, the primary bottom line, which is a feature of love, is grace. And grace is the love of God and the love that we, and the sharing and the acceptance of each other and forgiveness of each other as we interact with each other in life.
Okay. Do we know how many religions exist around the world? Anybody can come with a closer number to it? Does anybody, watching those things?
Well, we have what we call major religions and religions that are not so major. And I think, and that number is disputable, but I think we usually consider about 9, sometimes 10 or 12 religions around the world that we consider major religions.
Okay.
But there are so many religions.
When we say major, what is approximate number? I mean,
We call it major because of the number of people who accept that
who accept
as
the
their
religion.
religion.
Okay.
And but everything is a religion to some degree.
What is the most popular by number of people who joined the religion, who took the religion? What is the most?
Hinduism is probably the largest religion in the world, followed by Buddhism.
Okay, that's totally different than Christianity.
Oh yes, Christianity
What
is
they
third.
believe in? What they believe in?
What does Hinduism believe in?
Correct.
Well, that I don't know a lot about Hinduism. I've studied Hinduism at a rudimentary level, but it's different in many ways from Christianity. But they do have a sense of a higher power, but and they have a different way of what happens after we die.
Uh-huh.
And they also have a different way of believing in what happens in life. For example, you've heard the term karma, which is a common
Karma.
karma,
Oh, okay.
which has to do with the way we behave,
Mhm.
that's a part of Hinduism.
Okay. Okay. Let's not go back. Let's not go far from the Christianity. Let's go back to it. What is the first religion, and how were other religions created? We are thinking about Catholics, Orthodox, and Muslim religion. There are 3 different religions.
I understand. The oldest of the 3 Abrahamic religions, which are Jewish, Christian, and Muslim, go back as far as 6,000 years for the Jewish religion,
Okay.
and 4,000 years for Christianity, and 1,500 years, 1,500 years for Muslim religion. And the Christian religion includes Catholic, Protestant, and a host of other. We have some 30 Baptist traditions
Okay.
and several different mainland denominations. We call them denominations.
Mhm.
And we have hundreds of denominations in the Christian tradition.
I don't know much about the religion. That's why I wanted you to come.
I
to
understand.
My question is, when I don't know how many years ago, when there was a one religion, and then with the time they kind of separate from each other.
Okay. I'm glad that you asked that because in the last several years I've been doing more reading in the beginning of religion. And as far as I'm able to ascertain from the reading I've been doing, that we have some way of some proof, as far as proof goes, and at least in the way you interpret it, that religion, human religion, began probably at least 300,000 years ago.
Mhm.
And it began on the continent of Africa and has come forward ever since then
It spread through the world.
and spread through the world.
Okay. About the Catholics and Orthodox, they are both Christians, right?
Right,
The Muslims, we're not going to talk about them because they are not under the group of Christians.
right.
How the Catholics and Orthodox got different times when they celebrate their holidays. Let's say Christmas is always on the 25th of December, right?
Right,
For the Orthodox people, the Christmas is on January 7th.
right,
That's a different calendar they're
right.
going
Exactly.
to. Another thing is the New Year. It's on
Right.
31st of December.
Right.
They're celebrating on January 13.
Right.
How would that happen?
Well, it has
I know
to.
it's different calendar that they go by, the Julian calendar, and but how would that actually happen?
You know, to simplify things, it's like if you were keeping up with family history, and somebody did not expect that this event that was going to take that was taking place at this time would be significant in the future. So we didn't pay much attention to it, and everybody said it happened at this time, it happened at that time, and different people have different ideas about when it happened. Later on, it becomes a significant event and very important to the family. And so now families come up with the idea of when it actually happened. And it's kind of like a myth. Nobody knows for sure exactly when it happened. For example, anything that has to do with the Christian religion is based on Jesus Christ. And nobody, literally nobody in the world knows exactly when Jesus was born. And so and everybody has an idea about when it happened, and they use other signs and other things to prompt their memory, but nobody can say exactly when it happened. And the calendar is based on that. And the one thing that they feel more confident about is when Jesus died, and they're not sure even when that happened. And so, and that's not a bad thing about religion. The fact that we do not know exactly when, where, or what does not make religion less important or to make it less of a religion.
Just there is no material and
Exactly.
to prove that he actually
Exactly.
exists and he died there and you know what time and stuff like that. To give us
Exactly.
okay, I see. How does one religion preside over the other one? Why is one religion for some people more important than the other one? How they take this religion over this religion? How they choose the religion?
Well, believe it or not, religion, particularly as you look at world religions and various different cultures and various different climates geographically, you understand that religion is not an absolute that you will find the same in any two or three places, but it grew out of what people were experiencing. For example, in an agricultural situation, as this country was, well, we have changes in our religion now in this country, but it began in this country pretty much as an agricultural situation. And it's different for people in agriculture than it is for people who live in the city, for example. And that's why people in other countries base their religious faith and celebrations and their rites and whatever on the events and the weather and the storms and the wars and things that have happened in their lives that affect what religion actually turns out to be. So religion is really a reflection of the life we live rather than a blueprint by which we live life.
Religion, I think, based on tradition too.
Absolutely.
A lot of kids, like it or not, if their family it's a certain believes in Christianity or are they Catholics or Orthodox or Muslim, they're taking their religion automatically. How come they later on start not to believe in their religion and get taking another religion?
Well,
What makes them do that? Is there something that they find as a wrong that their parents believe in that, and I'm gonna go ahead and believe in something new or not believe at all?
one of the things that we've come to understand about spirituality is, which includes religion, spirituality is something that is taught to us, and we kind of pick it up from our family, from our community and wherever we happen to be. But at some point, as a natural process, many people will move away from the rudiments of their religion. And that's necessary to become their own person. For example, you can tell a child, this is right and this is wrong, but when nothing happens when I try this, it makes me wonder, is that really right or really wrong? For example, I pray for something, I don't get it, or I do something I shouldn't do and nothing happens to me. So I begin to test the waters, which leads us into other kinds of behaviors. And that goes on in the lives of people probably more in the teen years and early 20s than any other time. People move away from their religion. Like when they go away from home, for example, to go to school or just move to a different situation or meet new people in their lives. And bottom line is, in their late 30s or early 40s, people begin to come back to the religion that they had when they were children. And or they either come back to the religion that they grew up with, or they decide that that's not the religion for me, I want a different religion. So it happens around that period of time, late 30s or early 40s, that people decide, I'm going to do what my parents did, live the way I live, they taught me to live, or I'm going to try something different that I think works better for me.
Okay, the religion, a lot of people are mixing up the religion with science.
Right.
What is the difference between religion and science?
Well, for some people, religion and science go together, and so they are led by science as they practice their religion, or the other way around. They are led by religion as they try to understand science. And so in some ways they are opposed to each other and they stand at odds with each other. And some people say that they don't even believe that we've ever sent anybody to the moon before, because they believe the world is flat because of the translation they read in the King James Bible that talks about the corners of the world and the flat this and that. And so religion is always a matter of belief. And people believe what they want to believe or what they have to believe, or in the absence of any proof, they accept whatever feels right to them. And so it makes it difficult for people to decide which way to go, whether science or whether religion, or even sometimes to even bring the two together. And I think they both play a role in religion and science. Religion plays a role in science, and science plays a role in religion. But that leaves a lot of room for discussion and dialogue.
Okay, what is the most closer religion to the Christianity?
I'm sorry?
What is the most closer religion to Christianity?
The closest religion to Christianity would be, ironically, it would probably be Zoroaster.
Who practiced that religion?
It's a Mideast religion, and there are some features about it that is closer to Christianity.
What people are those people who have that kind of religion? People, what part of the world uses that?
People in the Mideast.
On the Middle East?
Yes.
Okay. About the, I'm gonna go back to the Orthodox. What is the difference between Orthodox Bible and the Catholic Bible? They're both Christians, but do they have different Bible first?
Well, the Bibles are slightly different, but there are many translations of the Bible. So when it comes to the Bible, you can't say one is Orthodox and one is not Orthodox in terms of the Bible itself. Mm-hmm. The orthodoxy comes by the way it is interpreted. Mm-hmm. For
What is difference?
the,
The interpretation. What did they do differently than the Catholic?
the extreme Orthodox says in any religion that whatever is written or whatever is passed down from the former generation is absolutely true. That's the principle of orthodoxy. And the non-Orthodox believers believe that nothing is absolutely true, but it's a guide or it's a way of bringing about an opportunity to understand and interpret in a different fashion.
Okay, so back to the one of the questions that we you just answered for me. So the Orthodox Bible is saying that they did have facts for what happened long time ago, where, when, and
Right.
Jesus was
Right.
on the earth.
Right.
The Bible of the Catholic Bible religion says that there is no proof, and that's the difference. They don't have the proof that he actually was here and he died and this time and at this location. So that's
Well,
the difference. These people are sure. These people are assuming.
even if we had the same Bible, we could take any translation we choose, and we would still have orthodoxy and non-orthodoxy. And what that means is not what's in the Bible, not what's written, but the way it is interpreted. It's kind of like law. You know, we say the speed limit is 35, but there are ways to interpret something different about whether you were speeding, even though you were going faster than 35 or less than 35. There are issues there that you can split hairs about, which make it appear that you were still not guilty of speeding, even though you were going more than 35 miles an hour.
You're still around.
Right.
Okay. Before we take a break, just to mention the Quran.
Okay.
What are they talking in the Quran? Why it's way different than the Bible?
Well, it's not way different than the Christian
What are
Bible.
they talking in the Quran?
That they have a similar creation story that we have in Christianity.
But they don't have Jesus.
Well, they mention Jesus in the Quran,
Correct.
and they accept Jesus as a prophet in the Quran, but they do not accept that they put
As the
Jesus
Son of God.
as the Son of God. That's the primary
They
difference
believe in actually in
Christianity.
his Father.
Right.
Okay. How? I mean, is the Quran more a better? How can I say it? Is the Quran better to believe in? Is there? I mean, is the Quran better book to read and believe in, or the Bible?
Well, I think anything that is inspired ultimately by God, and I think that the Muslim religion, the Islam religion, has some inspiration from God. It goes back to the same God that Christians believe in, and anything that comes to us from God ultimately has some value to us. It's like that old story of 5 blind men examining an elephant in a room, and they all go away believing that this is what an elephant is. But no, you can't see a whole elephant at any time or experience a whole elephant, and especially when you're blind. And so everybody will walk away with some truth about what an elephant is, but nobody knows exactly what the totality of an elephant. And the same thing is true with religion. We only know so much. The thing I like about Christianity is that Christianity says that we only know so much. And there's much that we don't know and must depend on learning through faith at a later time. The Quran says, this is it. It has all been revealed and nothing else will be revealed. And that's the primary difference I find in the two approaches to religion.
Okay. We're gonna be back with your questions, and I hope we're gonna give you the answers in a few minutes after the commercial.
Let me see you bounce. Let me see your body rock. Baby, show me what you got. Take it up, take it up. Let me see you bounce. Get out the underground. DJ gon' play it loud. Let me see you bounce.
Good. If you have a religion that is so rigid that you're uncomfortable and you can't even sleep well at night because of you feel you may have done something wrong, that may be too rigid for you. But a religion that gives you a sense of well-being and a need and a desire to hope that and pray for that for others, that's probably the religion that'll work best for you.
Okay. Kelly Shields from Milwaukee. What is the difference between religion and spirituality?
Well, that's a very good question, and we struggle with that a lot. Religion, as I said, is a belief system and a way of life. Spirituality is anything that influences life, whether positive or negative. Anything that influences life, well-being, or disaster, anything. If it influences us, makes us feel happy, make us feel joyful, make us feel sad, anything that influences life is spiritual. But religion is a way, a path that we follow, and a belief system that we accept will lead us to where we're trying to go. And that's the primary difference in religion and spirituality.
Okay. Matthias Polozo. Actually, this guy, I know this guy. He's from Greece. He's my friend, also on Facebook. He is asking, what is the difference between contemporary religion and a Greek mythology?
Oh, I thought he was getting ready to say traditional religion or something, contemporary and Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. Of course, I don't know as much about Greek mythology, but what we understand about Greek mythology is that it's part true and part reflection. There's definitely some truth in all the myths. That's the definition of a myth, as a matter of fact. Probably an easier way to say it's partly story, which means it could be fictional, could be just a methodological way of looking at something, but part of it is absolutely true. So there's a kernel of truth in all mythology. When you come to contemporary religion moves closer towards mythology than conservative religion some years ago, because conservative religion means that we know what the facts are and we know where we're going and we know the answers. Contemporary religion means that we're open to whatever we experience and we investigate that to determine how true or how much of it is true and how much it may be story.
Okay. Another question is Dante from Michigan. What is the purpose of spreading your religion?
Well, the purpose of spreading, the number one purpose for spreading religion is that it demonstrates to us and to others that it is a high value for us. One of the factors that we use to determine what is a value for a person is how much that person will proclaim openly that this is important to him or her. And if you have something that is a high value for you and you do not want anybody to know about it, there's a real question about how valuable that really is to you. And so religion, number one, shows that it's a high value for the person who is expressing it. And along that same line, if it's good for me, I want that to be shared with others, that I want to have a good life as well. So the second purpose for sharing religion is to try to help others have a more pleasant and joyful life than they would have without this religious.
It's not about the number.
Oh
So
no,
you're
no,
getting
no! It's
more.
not about numbers. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people who base the value of their religion on the number of people that they bring into the religion. But that's a quantitative way of looking at religion. But a more important way of looking at religion is a qualitative way. And a few people who are very religious are much more effective and much happier, I believe, than a lot of people who are shallow in their religion.
Okay. Um, Anonymous person asked, what is the illegal about religion and public school? Yeah, is anybody forcing religion in public school? Is anybody
Well,
talking about that?
in public school, the law in this country is that you cannot practice religion in public school.
Because there is different cultures and
Right,
okay.
because this is a culture made a diverse culture, and diverse religions. Even you have several religions
So you
sometimes
cannot make
in
somebody
the same
to-
family.
Correct.
I mean, in the same nuclear family,
Mhm.
and so you don't want to force, especially not children, because they're not old enough to make the decision. I don't want that, or I
And
don't like
understand
that.
what the religion
And so
actually is.
they're, and the other thing is, if the school system is forcing religion on people, their grades may be compromised if
by
they-
religion.
by religion.
So okay.
And so religion cannot be, and religion is not something you can force on anyone anyway. You can teach what it is about. You can teach the history. You can teach stories.
They did long time ago with the wars around the world. They wanted to have more people from their religion. So actually, they forced them to take their religion.
I came up.
Now in a modern society, world, it's not like that. But it used to be actually like that. If
Right, that is true, and that's still true in some places. But it was true when I first went to school. We actually left the school building and went to a church where we were taught Bible for an hour or so. I don't remember what time. I was very young. And then we went back to the school to complete the day. We did that once a week. And I think they used to call it religious education. Yeah, it was called a religious education when I was in elementary school. Ironically, as a matter of fact, my father, who was a pastor, would not allow me to go to those religious education classes. And as I look back on them, I'm very disappointed, because they had some real good teachers who, they didn't teach anything for us to believe. They just taught us Bible stories. And I loved those stories, and I missed out on them because he didn't want me to be influenced in the wrong direction, because the teacher was a Methodist and we were Baptist. And of course, that doesn't, ironically, sometimes I'm called a Metho Baptist because I'm a Baptist and I used to pastor a Methodist church. So it makes no sense now, but at that time, it was a problem.
the religion plays big part in the politics today.
Oh, absolutely.
Why is religion so important to the press and the politics? Every time a new candidate comes out, as a president or something, they always input their religions, traditions. They're so religious at that point.
Historically, in this country, religion has the leaders of the church, regardless of the religion, of the tradition, has always been for the people and trying to keep the people straight, lift them up when they were down, give them hope when they felt hopeless, help them learn the best way to live life in a community and so forth and so on. If nothing else, religion championed the concept of love thy neighbor as thyself. And so whenever you're voting for any position of leadership at any level, you're wanting to know what kind of person is going to be your leader. Is this somebody we can go to if we have a need? If something tragic happens, who do we turn to? Are you a just person? Are you a kind person? Are you a person who cares about people? Or are you just in it for the money and the fame and the whatever? And so religion is one of the ways that they think they can get at that question.
Do you think it is important? It has to be there with the press and the policy, because sometimes the press just actually makes it worse between the religions.
Well, I agree with you.
I can make a statement now and put it in a newspaper. Or I don't know, the Muslims did this and this. Maybe it's not true, but why people using those?
Unfortunately, I think the press mistakenly do a lot of damage in a lot of areas.
That's their job to do something, but I don't know, that's a little bit too far.
I think
Because
so too.
Big groups and even countries can be affected by
Exactly.
just one status that you're gonna post against them. So
I think there's, in spite of the press seeing itself as being nonpartisan in anything that they do, or that they're considering all the facts that they gather wherever they come from, and that they do not have any particular interest in one way or the other. I don't think that that's true. I think in spite of their efforts, the press takes a position on certain things, and to some degree that spells the kind of religion that they have. And so they present their religious views. It's interesting, for example, something I saw on the news recently about Paris Jackson trying to commit suicide. And Michael Jackson's doctor, who is in prison now for his death, sent her a message of that he considered a message of hope, a message of concern, a message of kindness, and what have you. And they kept playing it over and over again on the channel I was looking at, and saying how terrible that was, how strange it was, and they had a judgment about something and I thought two things. Number one is, if it's that bad, why do you keep telling us that it's happened? And secondly, I happen to have a background in pastoral care. And pastoral care is always good as long as it is done in the proper way. And that was the best he could do from where he was. But he has a relationship with this daughter, or has had, and is concerned about her, which is natural. And it's up to her whether she wants to respond to that or not. But it certainly doesn't seem strange and odd that anybody would be concerned about that situation.
okay, that was the question from Stephanie G from Vancouver. Another question from AA from Catalpa. The question is, why do a lot of scientists believe that religion contradicts science?
Well, it's hard to say why people believe what they do believe, but I think to some degree it's competition. The scientists go through a lot of effort to bring about the best truth from their point of view as they can bring, and they can understand, I would imagine, why that people would not accept that at least as readily as they accept something that they have no proof of. Religion, by its nature, cannot be proven. It's only what you feel and the faith that you have. Science can bring something that that they can repeatedly test over and over and say, this is fact. And so I can appreciate the frustration when they bring the best they have to the table and feel like it's rejected on the basis of something that cannot be proven. But if we believe everything, it's like that old saying, my mind is already made up, don't confuse me with the facts. And that's how some people feel about science. If it varies from something that people already believe, they reject that out of hand because it tampers with what they already have accepted, and that leaves them in a quandary. And so it's easier to just say it's not true or I reject it than to try to struggle through that and understand how that can be beneficial and how two things can come together when they seem to be so different.
Okay. Do you believe in miracles?
Oh yes, absolutely.
You do? Is that like a religion, by a religion thing, or by the scientists?
Well, that's an interesting question. I
Or
think
spirituality, let's say. Which way you believe in miracles?
I believe that there is a higher power
Mhm.
that that in some way or other there are things that we do not know. There are things we don't know about ourselves. We hear about these things every time we have a disaster. How long people live without water, how long they live without food, how long something happens, how they survived in a situation that could not be, there's no way anybody could imagine they could survive in certain kinds of tragic situations, and yet they do. That's a miracle.
But is that from looking at from the religion side or from science?
Well, for me, it's looking at both, because I think there are things that science continues to discover that at some point they thought did not exist. And we keep coming up with things and discovering things that we knew nothing about. And I think where science and religion come together, science eventually brings proof to what religion has stated as truth without the evidence of science. So for me, whatever I learn from science simply serves to verify what I already knew from accepting and believing in my religion. And if the two do not work together for me, I have to struggle with that and get to a deeper level to see that at some point they must come together. And if they're both authentic, I think they always do come together as much as they can. But at some point, I accept that there are things we don't know, there are things the science doesn't know, and it may be just around the corner before we see them come together, or it may be in another life before it will all come together. I may be dead and gone before it will come together. But my belief is that science and religion do not are not separate. They work together. They go together.
Let's take a break. We're gonna be right back.
Shake it up, shake it up. Let me see you bounce. Let me see your body rock. Baby, show me what you got. Take it up, take it up. Let me see you bounce. Straight out the underground. DJ gon' play it loud.
Or against. You can't be against something that you don't believe exists. But be that as it may, there are different atheists are like anybody else. They don't all come out at the same point. The one thing they have in common is that they do not believe in a higher being and a God as a creator and God that's in charge of our lives and a God that will ultimately be responsible for what happens after life. And so in their varied approach, not all of them will agree on everything. Like no one religious group agrees on everything, but that's the one thing that they have in common. they try to dispel the idea that there is a creator God responsible for all the world and everything therein.
Okay. Why was the capitalism the worst regime for the religion?
Well, capitalism does not have to be the worst thing for religion.
It wasn't. The capitalism was strictly, I think, against the religion. It
But
wasn't allowing the people to actually go to church and
yeah,
believe in
the
God.
regime was
The regime, yeah.
the regime
The
was against
capitalism.
religion because religion gave people a source of strength from within, and any regime that has its own agenda will be against religion. Even business today, in many ways, is against religion because religion, well, put it this way, capitalism is the only master, wants to be the only master of a person's life. Religion gives people an option to who will be their master. And so there are some regimes in the past that have taken religion on and tried to destroy religion or suppress religion so that their ideas will be the only ones that were accepted. But that still happens today in many ways by the laws that are passed, and people will find that when they get ready to do something with money or property or whatever, that though that is prohibited by the very laws that we have to pass, because the idea of capitalism has spread throughout all the world, and so whenever you have anything that stands in the way, I mean, there's a scripture in the Christian Bible that you cannot destroy a man's house unless you first destroy the man in the house. And so if you want to have your way with a person's mind, with a person's property or wealth or control or whatever, you first have to destroy that power in that person that keeps the person strong. And religion keeps a person strong in its own way. And capitalism, if it wants to succeed, has to destroy religion in the person before they can take over the person's wherewithal.
Okay. Do you have to go to church so people can see you and you can prove them only that way, just by going to church, that you believe in God, or you can have your spiritual moments at home and still believe in God more than they do?
Well, how much we believe in God is not determined by how much we go to church. As a matter of fact, some people stay away from church because they feel guilty about whatever behavior they have participated in.
But the churches are made for it.
Right.
So
Well,
I guess they should go there.
they believe that there are certain things that they should not be forgiven for.
Okay.
The scripture doesn't tell them that. They believe that. For example, if they had violated a trust of some sort, they believe that it's hypocritical for them to go to church after they have done something hideous that they should be punished for. Because at church, they will be loved, they will be accepted, they will feel grace. And the worst critics for most people, especially religious people, are themselves. Everybody else in the world, and God forgives them, but they don't forgive themselves. And so people stay away from church many times, not because they don't love God or believe in God, but because they believe that whatever their behavior is, it's too bad that it is more than God is willing to forgive, or that the people will forgive, or that they should be forgiven for. So we punish ourselves by staying away from church.
Okay. About the Jehovah's Witnesses, uh, why they are trying? They're following a different path.
Hmm.
I mean, we can see them going door to door and trying to push people to get into their, accept their religion and the beliefs. What do you think about them?
Well, as a matter of fact, my sister is a Jehovah's Witness, and the rest of my family and my father before he died were just out of sorts because of her choice of a religious tradition. And I realized that something led her in that direction, and something, unfortunately for me, because my sister is a very talented artist, but she traded that in and many other things in to practice this religion. And but by the same token, at the heart of at her heart, she is still a loving person and a caring person. And as far as I'm concerned, this is her way of keeping herself so that she can be the person that she wants to be.
Do you know any elements what they believe in? What things are not allowed in the religion?
Oh yes,
What are they based on? What is the proper how they follow their religion? The proper way.
well, one of the things that they have a lot of no-nos in their religion, as all religions do have a lot of no-nos, but that particular tradition is no-no about, for example, celebrating birthdays. They cannot celebrate birthdays.
Do you know why?
That's just against
It's
their
a
tradition,
religion.
because to celebrate their birthday is to mean that that birthday is more important than honoring God, and nothing should be put on par with honoring God, not even a birthday. As a matter of fact, they do not even go to funerals, and that's very painful for a lot of families, because a funeral is seen as a celebration of a person's life, and again, that's conflicts with their celebration of God. Only God should be celebrated, and they cannot vote in the political process. I don't understand fully why they do not vote, but that's against their religion. And there are other. Seems like most of what I learn about them is something that they cannot do and be in keeping with the religion. As a matter of fact, they cannot receive a blood transfusion, even if it means dying. Rather,
If their health is an issue, they will
if
not.
they have to have surgery, they have to have some other way of treating them or sustaining them. They could not take blood that somebody else gives to them, because it's not a part of their body. And
Does that mean they only take blood from a person who is also Jehovah's Witness?
no,
Or
they
not at
cannot.
all?
They cannot take blood from anybody
Oh,
other
I
than
see.
themselves.
Mhm.
So if they are anticipating surgery, they can begin to store up their own blood so that it will be available at the time they have surgery to replace blood that they will lose in the surgery. But of course, that doesn't, if they have an accident and they lose a lot of blood, that's a problem.
Are they aware of that? I mean, what if somebody is, let's say, needs it right now, blood transfusion, to say, well, forget about that. I need my life. They will not accept it.
Well, people have certain beliefs until it comes down to the moment
But that's what I'm saying. That the
of
moment is
crisis.
important. You have to decide: am I gonna leave or am I gonna die? And
There are some of them who practice the belief all the way up to death, and they refuse to accept blood. And you can't give somebody blood if they refuse to accept it. And what happens, what I've seen, I used to be a chaplain in the hospital, And so I've seen this on a number of occasions where a patient may be thinking seriously about, well, maybe I better take this blood because
Yeah, that's why I
otherwise
asked.
I'll die. But members of the tradition will come in to strengthen that person and say, you must not take this blood because it's against our religion. And if you do, we'll put you out. And so they have to make a choice between saving their life or saving their religious tradition.
Are they part of the Catholic
No,
group?
no.
What group they're under?
They are independent group for all practical purposes.
So they're not Catholics. They're not
They're not
Orthodox.
Catholics. They're not
They're not
Orthodox.
Muslim.
They're not Muslim. That they're not even Christian. They have some Christian beliefs, but their tradition is so far fetched from the traditional Christian beliefs that they are considered what we would call an outlier or something that is totally different. It doesn't fit in the Christian system.
Mhm. For my information, what I noticed, just all this time, why when somebody dies, if you're and belongs to the Orthodox group, Christian Orthodox, they bury him.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a Catholic group, you're allowed to be cremated.
Mm-hmm.
The Orthodox, they don't believe in cremation. They think that they should, by their tradition, get a funeral and just put them underground. What is the difference? Why the Christianity, the Catholics allowed that, and it's against the other side? It's against the Orthodox group.
Well, when it comes to death, death is probably the one thing that we think about as much as we think about life.
But with the spirit, what happens to the spirit?
Well, that's
When you
what I'm
cremate the
talking about.
person and when you
That
cremate the person.
we put a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of money into how we will prepare for after death. And one of the beliefs in after death is that we must face God with the original parts that we came into the world with. And so we can't allow anything to happen to this body that, at least of our own volition. Now, if something happens to the body that we have no control over, that's one thing. But some people believe that we will be raised in this body that we have come to know and animate and enjoy. And so we want to maintain it as much as possible so that when we are raised up, that we will be a whole person. And so that is the reason that, that some people believe that there must be, they must be buried immediately before anybody, well, and you can't let a person linger forever without burying them. And the longer that they linger without being buried, the longer, the more something could happen that would contaminate or destroy the body in some way. And so they want to get them buried as quickly as possible.
How long the cremation is being out? I mean, since when they start cremating people? Is that because of the population and there is?
No. Cremations has been around for many, many years.
Okay.
It's some people believe that it's interesting. While some people believe that the body needs to be maintained in its finest form, there are others that believe that the body should be burned so that it could return to the spirit.
Okay.
So, do you want to present yourself to the Creator in a spirit form by burning by cremation of the body, or do you want to present yourself in a physical form by maintaining the body in the form in which it died? And so people get confused about that, and where people come out depends pretty much on what they've been taught, what they believe, what others have done before, where you live. And there are a lot of people even today who, and it's not exclusive to any particular religion. People of various different religions are appalled at the idea of cremation, and yet they welcome, and others of the same tradition will welcome creation for other reasons. And one of the reasons why people don't want to deal with a funeral, for example, is because they don't want to deal with the grief, and it's one way of trying to avoid the grief. But grief is something that comes to us all, regardless of how we dispose of the body.
Okay. Vatican. Why is Vatican the center of the religion? Why is the most powerful place after Jerusalem in the world? Why is not another place? What is about Vatican?
Well,
Why they didn't build that in Jerusalem, where actually the whole history of religion comes from?
well, there's only one pope, and all the Catholics are under that one pope. That's a tremendous number of people to be under the control, for all practical purposes, of one person. When the Pope speaks for every Catholic in all of Catholicism. And that doesn't happen in almost any other tradition at all. And so historically they came to Rome because Christianity made its way to Rome, and the Roman government accepted Christianity.
Do we know what year it was there?
No, I don't know what year it was.
But there is facts, actually.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so that's where it moved out of Jerusalem. The Roman government was in power throughout the known world at that time, and so Rome was the headquarters of the world, and so the Catholic Church made its way to, or the Catholic religion made its way to Rome, and became the religion of the Roman Empire at that time, and there has been no other tradition that has had that kind of control continuously, and where the Pope can say this is the way it will be done, and have that many people to follow, and not stop following. And so that's why the Pope, if the Pope comes to this country, he's treated like not just a religious leader, but like a potentate or something, because there are a lot of Catholics who follow the Pope all the way to wherever the Catholic religion will go.
What is the difference on the cross between Orthodox and Catholics?
Well,
Just the way the cross looks like is different. Do you know the meaning
yeah,
of it?
there's some differences. The primary difference is a cross with a body on it, or a cross with no body on it.
No, I didn't mean the body. I mean the ends of the cross. There is like a three round ones on a Orthodox, and just a plain cross with nothing on it. On the
Right,
sides.
right.
Just yeah, and the horizontal line of the cross is a little bit more further down. What do you know the meaning of it? What are those three like circles on the end of the cross for the Orthodox?
I can't really answer that.
Okay. How the students in your class accept the religion, and is anybody there that doesn't see himself or herself in a religion that you teach them?
Well, it just so happens that I just
Somebody just is at the class and is gonna say, you know what, I do not believe in that, and I I don't want to take the class, or I
it,
believe in something else, and that's my tradition from my family.
seminary is a place where people come to study religion, not to know and to be uh, and to leave with the absolute truth. But they come to seminary to dialogue and to discuss and to discover. And that's even more so at Ecumenical Theological Seminary in Detroit, because ecumenical represents anywhere on any given day, we represent 25 to 30 different traditions, not religions, but traditions of the Christian faith at the seminary. And so when people come to seminary, they have various different, all the way from extremely conservative and evangelical religious principles to very liberal principles. And, and they discuss them together. And if you find somebody whose feelings and attitudes about it is different than yours, so to speak, they're not about to leave seminary. They're going to stay there to convince the others that they're right and you're wrong, or until you finally come to a point where you can find a way to bring the two together.
What do you think about mixed marriages? Orthodox, let's say Orthodox and Catholic, or Catholic and Muslim, or Orthodox and Muslim, how they get the religion and beliefs from the other person. Is that acceptable from your point of view, or by the religion?
Right. I have
How
a
easy
different
is
view
how
than
is it?
some people have about marriage. Marriage is difficult even if you have everything the same. It's just marriage is an institution that requires everything that you can bring to it for it even to survive. And sometimes, but my experience is studying other traditions and even other religions makes the religion of all of the persons stronger than it was before they studied a different one. And the same thing I believe is true in a marriage. When you have a marriage where everybody believe, where both people believe exactly the same thing, um, they may not have as much challenge or reason to discuss issues. They may not have uh, uh, a reason to sit down and think through various different values or what have you. And the more you are different, the more you have to come together and communicate and work at that. Now, sometimes it doesn't work, and they give up and end the marriage in one way or other. But if they can get over some of those uh, humps, for example, I've known people who were Jewish married to a Christian, and Catholic married to a Protestant, and Muslim married to a Christian or a Jewish person, and they find that they have more in common than they do once they understand where each other are coming from. They find that they have more in common than they have different from each other. And they have to learn to respect each other in their own tradition. You'll never change somebody from one tradition to another unless they were planning on or wanted to change anyway. And so the bottom line is, I think marriage at best is an outgrowth of an expression.
Well, we said that the love and the faith are the most important elements of the religion.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter actually what kind of a religion you are in a marriage. If you have both person with love and faith, then you agree on the same things.
I agree absolutely. That they may vary in their practice. Religion, of course, is the behavior. The practice is the belief. But love is something different than belief. Love is a part of who you are with another person. And you can practice love and exchange love and And as we say, be in love, regardless of what you believe and regardless of your tradition. And so love can survive a lot of things. And certainly we have evidence that love survives traditions, faiths, and in some cases no faith, and people still love each other.
Okay. And one more question for the end. The Bible. A lot of people carry the Bible with themselves wherever they go, and they are constantly reading it. I don't know much about that, but why they read the Bible over and over? Is it they didn't understand something, or what are they? Why are they reading the Bible again?
You know, the
It
Bible,
won't change. I mean, miracles not gonna happen there.
I have read some Jewish scripture, but I've read the Christian Bible several times in several different translations, and I've read the Quran. And one of the things I can say about the sacred readings that I have read myself is it's like poetry in a way. Every time you read a poem again, it has a different effect on you than the last time you read it. And every time I read a scripture, whatever scripture I read, rarely do I walk away with the same exact understanding I had before. And the reason I think that is true is because when I read the Bible today, and I read it in the circumstances in which I find myself today, I walk away with a sense of awareness and understanding today. Tomorrow is a different day. And I can read exactly the same thing I read today, tomorrow, and I will understand it and appreciate it in a different way because I'm different. And so I have to keep reading the Bible because I keep changing and I keep changing, and I'm not the same person from day to day to day.
I was just wondering. Thank you very much for coming to the show. Thank you for being my guest, and I hope to see you again and talk a little bit more about the other religions and stuff like that. There are a lot of things that I want to ask you, but we don't have time today.
I understand.
For the next show, we're gonna have another material. If you are still okay to come, and if you have time to join us again. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Put your back into it now. Baby, let me get you now. Shake it up, shake it up. Let me see you bounce. Let me see your body rock. Baby, show me what you got. Take it up, take it up. Let me see you bounce. Get up the underground. DJ gon' play it loud. Brinca, brinca. Let me see you bounce. Brinca, brinca. Let me see you bounce.
Hey, it's me again. Thanks for watching our show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions for the next show, please email me at zoran@zoran-land.com. See you next time.